You know the old saying, beauty is pain? For a lot of Black women, that pain was literal. Picture this. You're 15 years old and you just got done watching a YouTube video on how to give yourself a silk press. You're excited. You get up, you run to the bathroom, you go through your wash day routine, you pull out all the tools. But as time goes on, you quickly realize, my hair doesn't look like the girl in the video. You become frustrated, you become upset. And over time, you start to grow a hatred for the hair that grows out of your scalp. And why is that? It's because for the longest time, straight hair was considered the gold star when it came to beauty. When you went to school, everybody had a relaxer. We endured all the scabs and the pain that came with relaxing and straightening and hot combing so that we could attain the look. We believed that having bone straight hair made us more presentable in a world fixated on Eurocentric beauty standards. So when the natural hair movement came along, it felt like a breath of fresh air. Black women everywhere started to ditch the creamy crack and began embracing our kinks, coils, and natural hair textures. Suddenly on YouTube, we were seeing people rock their natural hairs, doing twist outs, braid outs, learning how to moisturize, learning how to wash. A lot of us were starting from ground zero when it came to our natural hair. If you're anything like me, I had never seen my natural hair because I started getting relaxers at a very young age. We were finally allowed to start being unapologetic about our natural hair textures and the hair that just grew out of our scalps in the same way that other races got to do forever. The point was to create a world where natural hair wasn't looked down upon, but was a norm. You weren't looked at sideways and told, you need to do something with that head, because you didn't have a relaxer. And it sounds empowering, right? It truly was and is. But of course, even a movement that was created to empower us and make us feel better about who we truly were had some biases sneak in the back door. In theory, natural hair means the hair that naturally grows out of your head, right? Whether you had 3A, 3B, 3C, all the way up to 4C. They all deserve equal representation and respect when it came to the natural hair community, right? You would think so. But in practice, a pattern emerged. Get it? Pattern? Okay, whatever. Looser and silkier hair textures slowly began to become the face of the natural hair movement. If we think about a lot of ads and campaigns and a lot of some of the natural hair creators that got to see a lot of success, we started to see a certain pattern. The favoring of a looser, shinier, more bouncy type of curl over a kinkier, tighter hair texture began to become the norm, and it has a name. It's called Texturism. And it basically means exactly that, treating looser hair textures as if they are better than the kinkier, more type 4 hair textures. Texturism and colorism are cousins.
You boys twins? Nah, we cousins.
Texturism is obviously nothing new. It didn't emerge during the natural hair movement. If you can think back to back in the day when people would refer to certain hair types as, oh, so-and-so has good hair. What's good hair?
When they say good hair, a lot of them are saying hair that is smooth and straight like a white girl's, or an Indian girl's, or sometimes a Puerto Rican girl's. And they spend thousands of dollars and countless hours using chemical relaxers and putting weaves in their hair to get it.
You know, texturism has always been around. She was sneaky, okay? She has always figured out how to weasel her way into the room. It just wasn't always called out by name. And it's just so ironic that the natural hair movement was supposed to be about taking back our power, but somehow those sneaky Eurocentric beauty standards in maybe a slightly more watered down way continued to sneak back in. It's like she just won't die. I don't know if you guys remember, but it started to feel like hashtag Team Natural began to look more like, I guess, looser or mixed curls over kinkier textures. I remember back in the day when I was on Tumblr, or if you would be scrolling on Instagram and you would see those hair goals pages, and it would just be filled with very loose textures. And if you did have a kinkier hair texture, then more than likely your hair was like extremely long. If you had the type 4 hair, then it had to be really long for it to be hair goals or for it to be seen as exceptional and beautiful in certain ways. And this is obviously very opinion based, but I feel like a lot of this emerged because of the obsession with the wash and go. I really don't know if it's the chicken before the egg or the egg before the chicken. I don't know if our obsession with having very defined curls came because of the wash and go, or the obsession with the wash and go came because of our obsession with looser curls. I'm saying a lot of words. I don't know if it's making sense, but somebody out there will understand what I'm saying. Wash and goes are so ironic to me because our hair isn't necessarily meant to be washed and then we can go. Our hair does take a bit more time and love, and wash and goes ironically are very time consuming if you don't have a certain hair texture. Like if you have a very loose texture, you may be able to put maybe a moisturizer, some mousse, blow dry it, and then have these super bouncy big curls. But if you have maybe more type 4 hair like me, then you're gonna have to be sitting there going section by section, very small sections, and putting a bunch of gel and product in order to get it to curl up and look a certain way. But being able to achieve a certain look with your wash and go became the benchmark for having good natural hair and having a good hair day. I guess, for example, having zero frizz, elongating our hair, being able to tame our hair. Like a lot of these words were starting to be used in regards to our hair, when in reality, some of our hair textures aren't meant to be frizz-free or tamed or elongated. You know what I mean? There's this obsession with having the hang time when your hair is curly, when we know a lot of us have hair that grows out instead of down. So it's like when you're hearing these buzzwords, like taming, smoothing, hang time, elongating, what is this alluding to? What is this telling people that don't fit into that certain category of natural hair? Like, why do our curls have to be defined? Why does our hair have to be slicked down in order for it to look presentable or be deemed beautiful in the eyes of society? If your hair doesn't naturally fall into this category or do the things that you're seeing online, then you're forcing it to do so, which creates a bigger problem. For a lot of type 4 girlies out there, our hair really doesn't conform to a certain look. We can to a certain extent, but like I mentioned earlier, that may look like us being in the bathroom for hours, maybe shingling every curl, clumping our curls, putting a pound of gel in our hair and trying to achieve a certain look. And this, to me, is where that conversation of, oh, natural hair is hard, our natural hair is difficult, our natural hair takes up too much time. I feel like that's where this conversation kind of starts to creep in, and that resentment towards our hair begins.
People seem to think that I hate my curly hair or that I want to be more white by doing.
When are we going to admit that wearing our hair in its natural state majority of the time is draining?
I love this conversation, and I love that we are finally being honest and having candid conversations about the realities of the upkeep that inherently comes with taking care of your natural hair. But I do think that we're still ignoring a major elephant in the room, which is that if it were actually socially acceptable for us to wear our hair in its actual natural state, I'm talking no braid outs, no finger coiling, no wash and go, no stretching, no heat, none of the crazy routines that we go through to tame our natural hair, it wouldn't be this hard. If it was considered cute to wear our hair naturally, and I mean like truly naturally, because I think we use the word naturally to describe hair that hasn't been like chemically processed or heat damaged, but most of the natural girls aren't really wearing their hair in its true natural state, if we really want to be honest with ourselves. And I don't think a lot of people are ready for that conversation. I've seen a lot of conversations on like edges and how we shouldn't feel like we have to lay our edges every single day, especially like us type 4 girls, because sometimes we're trying so hard to get our hair to do something that it's not naturally meant to do. And Lip Gloss, the content creator who we miss dearly, used to touch on this a lot. Like even me, when I have braids and they start getting older and they start getting less neat in the front, I get so frustrated because I feel like it just doesn't look as clean, which is so sad because it's literally just my hair. Like that's how it grows out of my head.
When you're trying to force your hair into a box that it's not meant to be in, then of course we're going to believe that natural hair is difficult, that natural hair is hard to do, that your natural hair just doesn't cooperate. Because what do you mean it doesn't cooperate? What does it need to cooperate into? It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. The issue isn't your hair, it's the idea of what we believe our hair is supposed to look like. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with experimenting with our hair, with trying to make sure that our hair stays moisturized. As Black women, we're very innovative when it comes to our hair. But we cannot ignore the fact that there is this underlying message that our hair is supposed to be super defined, sleek, tamed, frizz-free, elongated. That's just a fact. It just felt like after all the work that we did to ditch those Eurocentric beauty standards when it came to the relaxer and feeling like our hair always needed to be straightened, just turned around and took on a new look. It was the same sentiment, the same message, just packaged differently. It's like the message of love your hair, love your natural hair became love your natural hair as long as it's conforming and participating in this image that you're trying to imitate. It's very conditional when our love for our hair was supposed to be unconditional. I mean, the way it grows out is the way we're supposed to love it. And many people have spoken out about this before. If we remember lip gloss, for example, she's no longer on TikTok, but she did blow up on TikTok, and she was really under the sentiment that I'm loving my 4C hair the way it grows out of my hair. My hair is done. Stop saying it's not done. I'm not slicking my edges down. I'm wearing it the way it grows out of my head. What's wrong with that? And I'm loving that as time is going on, we're seeing more people slowly but surely take on this sentiment. So has there been progress? Yes. On one hand, the natural hair movement really did open doors and shift our society when it comes to Black women and the way we wear our hair. If we look at the amount of Black women that wear natural hair today versus before the natural hair movement, completely different. There's more, from what I see, more Black women that have natural hair, whether they choose to wear it under wigs or braids or whatever, but there's a lot of Black women that have natural hair versus the amount of Black women that have relaxers compared to the past. And I think that's a beautiful thing. We have the right to be able to choose what we want to do with our hair. If you want to have a relaxer because that's what you really want, then that should be the case. It shouldn't be we all have relaxers because we're told we're not beautiful unless we have straight hair. You know what I mean? So there has been progress, and like I mentioned, there have been certain people speaking up in this community, in this world of hair, that are reiterating the fact that the natural hair movement, though meant to be positive, has reared an ugly head when it comes to texturism. I can't help but to notice in some ways we are regressing a tiny bit when we look to the amount of naturals that no longer want to be natural. Could it be busy schedules? Oh, I really just simply don't have time to do my hair. Yeah, I don't know. When you have relaxed hair, it still takes time, it still takes effort. So that conversation is interesting to me. But the amount of natural haired women that are going back to the relaxer is very telling to me. Like, are we regressing? Is the texturism of it all really starting to win? I don't know. I hope not, but it's not looking good for us. So while there has been progress made, I do believe that it is very important, especially for the young 4C or type 4 girls in general, to be reminded that our hair is beautiful just how it grows out of our scalp, and not to let any of that outside noise kind of creep in, because if not, we will just find ourselves full circle back in a place where we're being told that if you don't have straight, relaxed hair, then you're not beautiful. I think this conversation is very important because by realizing the issue, we can begin to push back on it and have conversations around this topic. So I wanted to close this video off by sending a message to my younger self. Hi Ariana, I hope you're doing well. I remember when we were that little Black girl who once stared in the mirror, tugging at her hair, wishing that it would hang down or spring back like the girls with the looser curls. And to you, I want to say, your hair is not a problem to fix. Your curls are made exactly how they're supposed to be. The fact that your hair grows to the sky is beautiful, just as it is. You don't see a lot of girls that have hair like yours or that look like you on TV or in magazines. I know you hear comments from people telling you to do something with your hair, and you look in the mirror and you question if they're right, if there's something wrong with you choosing to wear the hair that grows out of your scalp. I know how it made you question your beauty and your worth, but I promise you there is nothing wrong with you and there's nothing wrong with your hair. There's nothing wrong with the follicles that grow from your head. You are worthy, you are beautiful, you are extraordinary, and nobody can take that from you. I know in your very young mind, it's hard to believe this, but please, I want you to look into the mirror and tell yourself these things. One day you'll realize that the people that told you there was something wrong with your hair were wrong. One day you'll see other women online, on TV, movies, and magazines that have hair like yours, and that will make you realize there's nothing wrong with you. And you'll join them. You'll learn that your type 4 hair doesn't need to become something else to be acceptable or beautiful. It's glorious in all of its beauty. It's glorious in all of its kinkiness. And if I could go back and give you a hug, I truly would. This is a message from your future self to love every bit of your natural hair the way that it grows out of your scalp. I hope this message finds you well, and I can't wait for you to see the person you become in the future. Love, Ari. I hope this video resonated with someone out there, and I hope you made it to the end to be able to hear this message. And if you have a daughter or a son or whoever who is struggling with their natural hair, play that message for them, or create your own message and send it to them. Have them play it every morning until they believe that their hair is truly beautiful, because it is. Have you ever struggled with your natural hair? If you have, I would love to hear your comments in the comment section down below. And if you have any comments or opinions on this topic in general, I would also love to hear that in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos like these. Hit the notification bell and that like button, okay? Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.